the I'm a Fan of podcast, music, comedy, and more.
Trey Mack, welcome, man.
Thank you for having me, bro.
We were, of course, man. I was excited to have you in here. The comedy special's great. It's called Everything. Everyone go watch Everything, please.
Yes.
On YouTube. Go check it out. Yeah, man, real interesting special. Super funny, obviously, but it's really more like, okay, we got a part poetry, we got part sermon.
Yeah.
It's mostly a concert, and then we sprinkle in some comedy in there, huh?
All that. That's how I do it.
Yeah, man, it was really good. I do have a question. How come every time I go to a black comedy show, everyone knows the words to all the songs but me?
I was going to ask you about that, bro.
Dude,
I was going to ask you, did you understand? So I've noticed I write jokes for myself.
Okay.
Right? So the music I like, the stuff I know, and then I take it to an open mic and I see if it hit to other people the same way I like it. You know what I mean? Most of the time, black people get it.
Yeah.
Sometimes white people don't. So I wanted to say, like, no, because
I didn't know any of those songs. I didn't know any of them. And the whole time I was trying to think, like, is this a black thing? Is this a church thing? Is it a mix of all of it?
It's a black church thing.
Yeah. And so, like, a couple of the, because I've seen, oh my God, I can't remember her name right now. Super famous black female comedian who was on one of those talk shows like The View or something.
Whoopi Goldberg?
No, not her. I would know her. But anyway, we went to see her at Addison Improv one time. Same thing, like absolutely hilarious. And then, but half the show was people singing songs. And I'm like, and you're doing that thing where you like move your mouth.
Yeah.
But you don't really know the word. You just don't want to feel left out.
How does that feel, bro? Like,
I mean, I don't care.
Is it still funny to you? Like, because you don't get
at that point. Well, the songs aren't. Well, I mean, I can tell it's funny if you're using the song as a punch. But sometimes they're using it like we're just having a quick sing along here,
real quick.
It's just like a vibe check of the room of like, I guess how well do we know each other? Like you were using it, I think, in a lot of the. Like when you're talking about some of the religious references, I think you're throwing it out there to kind of see, like, is this a religious crowd? Do they know what we're about to get into?
Yeah.
No, I like it. I mean, but I think what I hate about it is I feel like I know music really well, and then it hits my ego. I'm like, I know none of these songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but it's still fun. It doesn't take anything away. It's more of just like, well, I guess I got to go check out a couple new songs now. Yeah. So what came first for you, though? Was it music, church, all the above? Like...
Church first, music was part of church. I played the drums.
Okay.
And I was in a rap group. I wrote the raps. It was called The Boys of the King.
Okay, so Christian rap group.
Christian rap group, man.
What age are we talking about here?
Probably 10.
Oh, so that was really cool as a 10-year-old.
10, 11. Yeah. But yeah, music, I still love me. I'm a big fan of music, man.
Well, you're doing the song on the special, right?
Yeah, at the end.
Yeah,
that's my song.
Yeah.
I
mean the whole thing. I was like, this guy's really deep into music.
Yeah.
Did you ever take a run at like a music career at all?
Nah. If I didn't fall in love with comedy, I think I would have though.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of music do you think you do?
I would sing and rap. I don't even know what genre, because sometimes I want to do some acoustic stuff. Sometimes it's R&B. It might be gospel. I don't know what genre it would have been.
Yeah.
But I would have wanted to write meaningful lyrics, like full circle songs that mean something. You know what I mean? Come together at the end, and just use everything. The singing and the rapping.
Well, you still got time, right? You're not officially 30 yet, are you?
Oh, nah, I am 30.
You're 30 now. Oh, well, it's all over, man.
No.
It's done.
No.
I turned 40 next month, so
oh wow,
yeah, I got about a 10-year gap. But no, when you were talking about like rapping and singing, like my generation of like high school, like my early 20s music, it's like you had all these huge R&B acts that were always like collaborating with like the rappers. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know if it's just because everything's on Spotify now and we don't have like good radio stations anymore or anything, but I do feel like there's a huge gap in that genre of music where it's just not as popular as it used to be. Like what was the last huge R&B artist that you can think of that was like, you know, full, like in the public eye, you know?
Huge R&B
household
artist?
name.
A household R&B artist.
It's tough to think about, right?
Chris Brown.
But that's been a while. That was my generation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there's like a void there. It's like, I know it's out there. I know people are making it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there needs to be like some record labels or something that push it up up front.
Yeah.
But I miss that genre of music, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There would always be like the rapper who would find like the really cool pop artist, right? And put their stuff. I mean, that's even how that's how Bruno Mars got his big kick. He was just singing the choruses on other people's songs.
Okay.
And then it just turned into Bruno Mars after that.
Bruno Mars, did he sing on B.O.B. songs?
Yeah. I don't know if that was the first one, but that's the first one I heard of.
Yeah, I remember B.O.B.
That was like the first real popular one.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And that dude, B.O.B., he just fell off. Like, I think he had a song or two, and that was it.
I was a big B.O.B. fan,
Were you?
man.
Well, where'd he go?
Yeah. I don't know for sure, but I think he went crazy.
Really?
He started doing some conspiracy theorist rap type stuff, talking about aliens and stuff. I was like, I don't want to hear this, bro.
But if he was just 10 years later, do you know how many people would be listening to that right now?
Right now?
That would love that.
Yeah. Yeah, it might hit now, but at
Yeah.
the time I was like, this ain't what I
Oh, that's a shame because
signed up
he
for.
had a good run with. I think
He
had
was
like
good.
I think he had like 2 massive hits and then he kind of went away.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Bruno Mars was on that first one that he did, or one of those hits he did.
They Got Nothing on You. Was that him?
Yeah,
They Got
nothing
Nothing
on
on
you,
You.
babe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Dang, man. So what you think you're ever gonna get into it? Start making some music then?
Man, I got so many songs I need to drop before I die.
Yeah.
Like stuff that I'm like, I need to get this out because it's so good to me.
What keeps you from doing it right now? Just wrapped up in comedy so much?
Perfectionism.
Oh.
Like it's good on paper, and then I record. I'm like, it's not hitting the way it need to hit.
Well, what about the song you put at the end of the special? That, I mean, you must have liked that if you threw it on there.
I love that one. Yeah,
Okay.
that's one of many.
All right, so there's your first release. Do you got it out like on Spotify yet?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, so we can start there.
it's at least one.
Yeah,
at
that's
least
one.
Yeah.
All right, so you already do you release it under Trey Mack still? Mm-hmm. That way you can be like multi artist.
It's all in the same name.
All right. Well, what's the next? Because that one is what's the opening line? Raise the glass.
Yeah, raise your glass.
Raise your glass?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Cheers to another year.
So it's like a nice uplifting, good mood kind of thing going, right?
I wanted to make a New Year's song. People always make Christmas songs. I wanted to make a New Year's song, so that was my New Year's. It feels hopeful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
it's
definitely
like
was.
a
Well, and
hopeful-
it works so well with the closing of the special too.
It's a good credits type of song. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, especially with coming back in like near the end of the song, coming back in with the poetry you do at the end of it. Yeah. You always been a positive person like that?
Man, you really watched the special, bro.
Why
Thank
would I
you.
not watch it?
No,
The show's called I'm a Fan of. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
I have to like it.
thank you, bro. I appreciate that.
I have politely told people no thank you.
Oh wow,
So like if you're here, I genuinely watched it, genuinely liked it.
that mean a lot, bro.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
it's good.
Thank you.
Well, I'd heard several people going, gotta watch Trey, real funny. And we were talking earlier about we share like similar previous careers, and I'm still doing that right now, and it's like busy. So for me, the only challenge is there are a lot of really good people in DFW, and it's hard to catch them all, even within a year. You're like,
Yeah.
if I go to a show once a week, it's still hard to fit them all in.
Yeah.
you know? But anyway, yeah, were you always just positive dude like that? Where does that come from? Because I'm very negative.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I'm happy. I'm happy with my life, but I'm quick to go like, this is bullshit. Whatever it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm the same way. I think I'm realistic. I really don't expect anything, and I appreciate everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you had called and canceled today, I would have been like, I figured that was gonna happen. Like, it's not gonna mess my mood up, but I don't expect nothing to happen until it happens.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I don't know what that is, but yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty just level, bro.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm
all
just-
the time, though? Like, since you were a kid?
No. When I was a kid, I had an anger issue for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But I grew out of that, and
How do you grow out of that, though?
I think I got to high school and I saw people fight who could really fight good, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. They bleeding. They wasn't bleeding, and yeah. So
Did you ever actually get in a fight in high school?
not in high school, no.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, that's a good lesson that first time you get hit by somebody.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't like this at all.
Yeah, this ain't me. This ain't me.
This
Let me
hurts.
chill out.
This hurts more than I thought it would hurt. Yeah.
Let me chill, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So just watching other people fight, realize I'm not going to do that, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think I was just gonna get into no fights either. But once I saw like people fighting and, you see blood and a tooth on the ground, you be like, oh, yeah, let me make sure I keep my attitude under wrap because they really fight out here.
How old do you think you were when that was happening?
Ninth grade. I remember ninth grade. Early.
That's a pretty mature thought for a ninth grader, though.
You think so?
I think so, man. I don't know. I'm probably just thinking of me in ninth grade, and I was just kind of, what do you call it? Impulsive, just kind of an idiot, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You know, that, like, I would have seen that, and it might have registered for a minute, and then I would have been like, oh, that's crazy. Okay. Like, yeah, definitely didn't learn until I was older that, like, consequences could be very severe.
Yeah.
You know, and I just got, like, I think the first time I saw something like that where I realized, like, where I had your moment was I was out of high school. I must have been 19 or 20. You know the old Cowboy Stadium, the old one in Irving? Anyway, you weren't here then.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not from here.
They had an older one, not this new, beautiful, nice one. And they used to do, like, dirt bike races, you know, and when the Cowboys weren't playing, they had this thing called Supercross, and it's just all the dirt bikes coming in, they race. And we would go to that every year. I grew up in, like, a real small country town, so this was our stuff. But I was hanging out with, like, the people from my small town that I kind of still knew, but I wasn't real close with, but we liked this. So we showed up, and you're drinking, but all that small town stuff, it's like, since there's not much to do out there, people just party and drink and have a good time. And
Right.
they're all pretty good people, but it's like you need hobbies and you need stuff to do or you start doing kind of bad things, right?
Yeah.
So inevitably, like, if you were at you're from Alabama. Are you from a small town, a big town?
It's smallish. Yeah,
Smallish?
yeah.
Did y'all do field parties ever?
No, I ain't
Okay.
no field party.
So we would just meet up at a field, and that's where we're going to party.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
people just, like, pull trucks up, pull cars up, and you just turn a radio on, start drinking, maybe a bonfire or something.
Okay.
And but inevitably, like, the longer the night goes on, the more someone's going to get into a fight. Somebody's just going to jaw off at somebody else. Is going to happen. So, you know, it's like that's one thing when you're, like, younger, you're in high school or something. But now, like, I'm starting out in that career I was telling you about. You know, so I've got something to lose now. It's the first time I've had, like, something I can mess up. And we're at this Supercross. We're just tailgating in the parking lot. They have their big trucks and stuff. We're drinking beer. And there's, like, a group over here. They've got their big trucks. They're drinking beer and hanging out. And it was probably something as small as, like, someone's radio was louder than the other person's radio. You know, and, like, turn that shit down or whatever. You know, something like that. And then they just start going. But it didn't turn into just this kind of fight between two people. It turned into this huge brawl. Like, I wasn't part of it. I'm just watching it go down, and it's happening so fast. And people are, like, breaking beer bottles over heads. It's like you're in a movie or something, you know? People are, like you said, people are bleeding. People are getting hurt. All of a sudden, police start swarming the whole area that are there, and one of the guys pulls away in this big truck like he's going to flee. And so he's, like, almost running people over, and we see him. Eventually, he's out, like, on the highway, and the cops pulled him over there. So he's going to jail. Right? And then some dude who got hit with a bottle, he's, like, bleeding all down his face. And he's so drunk, and he's just big, and he's just screaming, like, who wants some or something? I don't know what. It looked like insane.
Yeah.
And this is all over the span of maybe, like, 30, 45 seconds. Like, it's happening fast, you know? And but then the cops are there. So this guy's freaking out, doing all that, and they just tase him and put him down, and then they just start cuffing people. And me and the friend I'm there with, we're just like, let's just go inside. Like, what is? And that was, like, my final, like, I don't think I can hang out with these people anymore. I think that's it, you know?
Yeah,
but it took me till my early 20s to realize that.
Okay.
So I think realizing it at ninth grade is a more mature thought than maybe you realize.
Yeah, I had some early revelations, man. I was
maybe it's because you're going to the church, you know?
Maybe he saved me from some stuff, man.
Yeah. It is wild, though, man. Think about those moments where if you didn't decide that, like, how quickly it could have gone a different path, you know? Yeah. So, did you pick up the drums in church, or was that at home?
Yeah, church. Yeah.
How'd you fall into that?
How did I start the drums? I don't really remember the start of it. I remember I got a drum set for Christmas when I was maybe 8, 7 or 8. And I just started practicing the drums, and I wanted to play at the church on Youth Sunday.
That was like the goal, huh?
That was the goal, yeah.
Who's the person in your house that was into music that bought the drums?
It was a Christmas gift. So parents,
mom and dad both like. Are they into music too?
Yeah, my dad. He said he used to sing back in the day. I don't got no evidence of it.
Never heard him do it though.
But he got a big music collection, like CDs, cassette tapes. He got all of the music.
Okay.
All of it, yeah. So,
Is he the guy you come over? He's like, let me show you something.
yeah,
play
yeah,
you something.
Yeah. Or just have some stuff playing.
Mm.
And my mom, she sang in the choir at church. So, my granddad, he sang. My auntie, she sings. She sings in a choir at a church. They got albums out and stuff like that. My sister plays the piano. So yeah, we got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were just going to church, seeing everybody sing, and you're just thinking, got to do it. Because you said that was where you first started playing and singing was church, right?
Yeah, I remember playing first. I don't even remember when the birth of it all was, bro. It's just something that was always
That's strange to me.
a thing. You know what I mean?
I guess, yeah. I guess if you're just always around it,
Yeah.
you just hop in there one day and don't even realize it.
Yeah, just something I like doing, man.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Probably start singing in the audience, right? In the crowd. That's how
Absolutely.
little I go to church. I'm like in the audience.
Absolutely. And then you get like I played the drums. We had two drummers, so if the other drummer was playing, I was singing the choir.
Okay.
Because that was just if you was a kid at our church, you sang in the choir.
Oh, okay.
That's what you did.
So you were forced in no matter what.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
You don't got an option, bro. Like
Yeah.
you're a kid.
Yeah.
That's the youth choir. You know what I'm saying? Go sing. So I remember I got a solo one time, and a lady after church, she was like, "You can really sing." And I think that was the first like, oh snap.
They didn't check you out before to make like they gave you the solo without knowing.
No, I guess they knew I could sing. I guess she didn't know.
Interesting.
She's like, "You can really sing." I said, okay, it might be a thing. You know what I'm saying? And it's something I enjoy doing anyway. So,
Yeah, I've loved music for so long. I can't think of a life without music. Like you ever get into someone's car and they don't listen to music?
Never.
I've been in cars like that before. It's strange.
Never.
People who just aren't into it.
I've never met a person that's not into music, bro.
Yeah, they're out there, man. They're out there.
Wow.
You ask them like, what's like your favorite band, your favorite artist or something? They're like, oh, I don't know. You'll come across one now that we talked about it.
Yeah.
You'll have to text me. Be like, dude, I found one of those weird people. But yeah, like I said, we grew up in a small town, so we were always, like if you're going to get groceries, you got to drive somewhere. So everything was like 30, 40 minutes away, one of those towns. And
Where you from, man?
how familiar are you with Texas now?
I know some stuff.
So we're in Dallas, about an hour northeast of here. There's like Lake Levon and Wiley, those areas.
I know Wiley.
So if you keep going a little further northeast from Wiley, there's these they used to be farm towns. I don't know what they're doing now, but it's like Nevada, Farmersville, Copeville, those areas.
Okay.
They're small towns like Copeville, where I'm from, Copeville. It's like literally there was like one kind of main road that branched off the road that you drive past it. And it's like you either kind of went, east or west down that road, and that was Copeville. And it had a post office, a gas station, and a feed store. And eventually a tornado hit the gas station, and I don't think they ever rebuilt it.
Wow.
It was after I left there, after I moved away. But, it's one of those towns like, you go over to the next town in Nevada, we had a little place called the Pizza Getty that everybody worked at. Like if you were in high school, you worked there at some point,
Right,
so your
right.
options are like, we working at the Pizza Getty, we working at the feed store, or the gas station, So
yeah.
pretty much if you don't move out, when you're 18 or whatever, and you don't want to drive, 30, 45 minutes to get to work or something, there's no point for you to stay out there, Now I think they've done that, like all the housing developments. I'm sure it's a little different now, but
Yeah.
I don't know. But it was small. So, it's like if you went to get groceries, you drove a long way, radio's on. There's always music on, So that was kind of my version of kind of the way you were thrown into music with church. It's like there's just always something on the radio. I couldn't imagine just having the radio off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was interesting. Do you remember the first CD or something you bought that was your own?
The first CD, Big Willie style.
Big Willie style.
Will Smith.
Oh,
Yeah.
Will Smith.
Big
All right.
Willie style. Yeah.
Man,
The
what was the
very
main
first.
hit on that one?
I think Getting Jiggy With It.
Oh my God, dude, coming way back. Huh?
I'm pretty sure it was Getting Jiggy With It.
Yeah. Surprisingly, my first, I wasn't even that into it. The first, well, actually, you know what? The first CD I ever got was a Boyz II Men CD. I'm not a Boyz II Men CD, a Beach Boys CD.
Okay.
The first one I bought with my money though was Boyz II Men.
Okay.
It was the Cooley High Harmony album.
Okay. That's nice. That's
Have you listened to that recently, by the way?
Not recently.
You ever listened to it at all?
What was the hit on there?
Motown Philly.
Motown Philly's back again. Yeah.
I recently listened to it like this year because I hadn't heard it in forever, and I was like, God, I gotta hear it again. And whoever the dude is with the deeper voice, I never noticed he's got this one cheesy line because they're talking about Philly like it's so great. They're like Boyz II Men. I don't know. I think it's like ABD. I can't remember. They're listing off like the other groups.
BBD, EBD, yes, yeah.
East Coast Family,
yeah.
And it's
Bill
like,
Bev DeVoe.
yeah. So they're Bill Bev DeVoe and some other groups. Anyway, they're talking about the people from there, and then let's see, Boyz II Men. Anyway, it gets to something, and it's like they're talking about how like cool it is, and he gets to this part, and he goes, jet black Benz, plenty of friends, and then the dude comes in with the low voice, and you're thinking like, what's the coolest thing you could say after jet black Benz, plenty of friends? And he comes in, and he goes, and all the Philly steaks you can eat. And it's like, but like as a kid, I never noticed that lyric.
It sounded cool as hell as a kid, right?
I don't know if I ever knew what he actually said there, but I was just thinking like, man, that was a grown man in the studio was like, oh, the Philly steaks you can eat. And it made it onto like a hit album.
Let's go with that. Yeah.
I was just like, what a little time capsule of like.
It's Philly, bro. I guess you had to throw it in there somewhere. Bro.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure for them it's like, I don't. Yeah, I mean, we got all our weird stuff here in Texas. What's the stuff in Alabama like that?
What we eat?
No, just like I'm trying to think. Like here we're talking about like, blue bonnets and longhorns and like what's some of the Alabama stuff that like when you think of Alabama, there's these fixtures that you think of home,
Blue bonnets and longhorns. University of Alabama Roll Tide. That's
I guess that's like y'all's huge thing, huh?
That's
the thing.
Yeah, that's our we don't have NFL and NBA and we don't have major teams, so that's our big deal.
So were you a fan of Alabama growing up there then?
Yeah, it's either Alabama or Auburn. You got to pick one.
That's right. I forget about that rivalry, man.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, pick one of those.
So was family Alabama then, and that's why you were Alabama?
Nah, man, it's split up, man. My auntie went to Auburn, so she's an Auburn fan. And it's just random.
Does it get heated?
My not really.
Y'all are all just nice people.
Not really with us. Not really with us, man.
Yeah.
Because everybody didn't attend those schools, but, it's
That's okay. It's like here in Texas, like most of the people didn't go to the University of Texas, but they still get into Texas OU every year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, is that the big thing in Texas?
Oh,
Texas
man. Yeah, they call it the Red River Rivalry or the Red River Shootout. I think they used to call it the shootout, but they changed it after there was all these shootings.
Shootouts.
Yeah, I think it made it more PC to call it something else, or the showdown or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ever heard Lawrence has got a great bit about it. He's put it out there multiple times now, and it's like recorded, so I don't feel bad about talking about it, but he's talking about how it's his favorite weekend because they'll come down here to Fair Park, and they'll play at the Cotton Bowl. And he's like, yeah, man, it's like the one week in a year where you see two dudes wearing shirts to schools that they couldn't get into, fighting in the middle of an intersection.
Yes, I did hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a beautiful joke.
Yeah, I guess I forgot about Alabama and Auburn, man. The Alabama is just so foreign to me. We're going to what is it, Gulf Shores here this summer.
I've never been.
Never been?
You got to tell me how it is.
I hear it's the most beautiful beaches you can get kind of on the Gulf before you hit Florida, at least.
I heard it's nice too, man. I've never been, man.
Well, what part of the state are you from then? What, like geographically, where is it at?
Birmingham.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So what, you just never took a trip down south to the beach, huh?
Never, bro. I didn't go to a beach until I joined the military.
Wow. What was the first beach then?
It was in Italy, some beach.
That's a pretty nice beach to go to
Yeah,
for
it
the
was,
first.
it was cool. It was cool.
How long were you in the military?
7 years.
7 years, man. So that means you signed up a second time, right?
Nah, I was supposed to get out in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
and COVID happened, so they let me extend for 6 months. And after the 6 months, the world was still kind of crazy, so they said you can extend another 6 months. So it got me to I signed for 6 years.
I didn't know you could sign for 6.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I signed for 6, and I was gonna get out, but I extended for a year.
Wow, 6 years, man. That's a big commitment.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, why not 4 when you were signing up? What made you go for 6?
Because if you signed up for 6, you get to start as a it was either E2 or E3. Pretty much you get to start with rank.
Oh, okay.
Like you get, as soon as you graduate basic, you get rank instead of starting as an E1 and you gotta, work your way up. So if you sign for them extra 2 years, you can start getting paid more earlier.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
Did they tell you that in the recruiting office, or you got to figure that out?
they told me that.
Okay, yeah.
The recruiting, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like they'd want to lock you in for that 6 years.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
So if COVID didn't happen, would you have stayed in there longer, you think?
Nah, I was set, man. I do college conferences, and I had booked like 20-something schools, man. So 2020, I was going to be doing a lot of colleges.
What you're talking about with comedy?
With comedy, yeah.
So you're doing comedy while you're in the military?
Yeah, I started in high school.
Well, how do you work in comedy when you're in the military?
The military is pretty much, especially I did X-ray, so it's pretty much like having a regular job, man.
Oh, okay.
So I worked in the clinic on base, and I work from 8 to 5 or whatever, and then when I can get off, I get out of uniform. I can leave base. I can hit an open mic. I can go to
what a great military experience, huh?
If I didn't love comedy, I would have stayed in 20 years, bro.
Yeah.
I ain't got no complaints. I ain't got no reason.
Wow. So when you signed up for the military, did they tell you like here are your options and you chose X-ray, or like how did you get into that?
Nah, my dad was in the Marines.
Mm-hmm.
He told me join the Air Force and become an X-ray tech. He gave me the play-by-play. He said, don't do what I did. He said, you smarter than I was. So go to the Air Force, because they treat the Air Force good.
Mm-hmm.
Be an X-ray tech, because that's a comfortable job. You're not going to be outside. You're not going to be, in danger. So I just did what my dad
Man, he sounds like a smart guy. That's solid advice.
Yeah.
Solid advice.
Best advice I could have ever took,
Wow.
bro. Set my whole life up.
I mean, how did he even know that was the way to go? You said he was in the Air Force. Did he just have...
my dad was in the Marines.
Marines.
Yeah.
So did he just have military buddies who were like, oh, I heard this is a good job over there? I mean, because he's not even... Like, he didn't... It's not like he did it and was like, oh, do what I did it. I can tell you it was awesome.
Yeah, when you're in the military, you have joint experiences. So sometimes you'll be on the base with Army or Navy or Marines, and you kind of see how they operate. You're like, oh, man. Like, in tech school, like, when it came to PT in the morning, if in the morning it was raining and thundering and lightning, Air Force, we didn't go outside. You look out the window, Army out there in the mud. You be like, dang, bro, it's lightning, man.
Yeah.
They don't care. So you have those experiences. You be like, oh, the different bases, this how the different branches, they operate differently.
Yeah, because there's got to be a couple Army guys that have been hit by lightning, right? It has to have happened once.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Has to have, right? Like,
I wouldn't be
doing
surprised.
jumping jacks when a lightning bolt's out there.
Yeah, they don't stop for nothing, man.
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, that is a good thing, man. So man, X-ray in the military, and then you're able to just leave base in the evening, go do comedy, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because I remember in the special talking about your first time was 17, right? Your dad had to come with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what was it? I can't remember the name. Star what?
Stardome.
Stardome.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was first experience. He's got to roll with you.
Yeah.
And so you just kept going through all the military, huh?
Yeah, man, I fell in love with comedy before I joined the military. So I did the delayed entry program. My X-ray job, they didn't have a position for me when I wanted to join right out of high school. So I just worked at a place called Taco Casa for a year.
I know Taco Casa.
Yeah. I worked at Taco Casa for a year and did comedy. Taco Casa and comedy. That was and I fell in love with comedy during that year. And I kind of didn't even want to join the military no more, but I had already signed my life away.
Yeah.
So I had to go do my 6 years, and during the 6 years, I just kept doing comedy. Every base I was at, San Antonio, did comedy in the comedy scene. That's how I met a lot of comedians in San Antonio. Mm-hmm. One of the comedians who used to book me, he owns Upstage Comedy Lounge now.
Where's that at?
Bobby Smith is in San Antonio.
Okay.
Shout out to him, Black-owned comedy club. So
yeah.
Now, I got that connection to San Antonio. I was stationed in Shreveport, Louisiana. Met a whole bunch of people. That's like my second home now.
I've just been learning about how big that comedy scene is over there too.
Shreveport?
I'm sorry. I'm mixing up Shreveport and New Orleans. Sorry.
I was about to say, it's not big in Shreveport.
Nope, got them mixed up. My apologies. Well, what is comedy like in Shreveport?
Very small. When I was there, they didn't have a comedy club. The year I left, they got a comedy club. I was pissed
They're
off.
just doing everything at bars and stuff?
Yeah, just venues, booking rooms, and doing comedy in spaces. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Real quick, so you got into comedy at 17, but when did you enlist? How old were you? Was it right at 18?
19. I went in at 19.
19. Wow. 19 years old, signing 6 years.
Yeah.
That's impressive. But still, I mean, what great advice, man.
Man, the best advice, bruh.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, that funded my whole life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think about, no one was really pushing me to military. Like my parents didn't do anything like that. They weren't really giving that kind of advice, and they didn't have like a college experience or anything. They were just like, I don't know, like I guess after school, like you go work, you go figure it out basically.
Mm-hmm.
And like they tried, but just since they didn't go down any of those paths, they couldn't even give the advice. They didn't know what advice to give.
Yeah.
But I did think about military for just a split second. But I graduated high school in 2003. And so we were in the middle of like a post 9/11 world.
Oh, okay,
so it's like, if you're signing up, you're getting deployed.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I was like, I can't do it. And I didn't have any good advice like, you can, if you do this, you can get into a trade. And I don't think I was smart enough at the time. I don't think I really learned how to study and excel like academically until I was in like my mid-20s. You know what I mean? So I think like 15 to 22, 23, I don't think I was very bright. So I definitely would have been doing jumping jacks out there in the rain. And, you would have been looking at me from your nice warm room.
Yeah.
And then I'd be freaking out about like, I guess I'm going to Afghanistan or something. I don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But I do think like if it wasn't a wartime, I think I probably would have went and done it.
Yeah, that was a different time, bro. I could see
well,
that.
in that war too, like I was pretty rebellious. Like loved like punk rock music at the time, and I mean I still do, but and it's all anti-war, and and so I was really heavy on that, and I still think like that should be your last resort. Like it should be the last. We should try to avoid that as much as we can, right?
Yeah.
And but I was thinking like if it was like World War II. And all these people were being murdered, I might, and like they're about to come attack us, I might feel a sense of like national pride, like I got to sign up, But it just didn't feel like that after 9/11. It felt like, so this country did it, but we're going to go to this country, and that country just happens to have like a bunch of oil that we want, and like I don't know, this doesn't feel like I want to go put my life on the line for that,
Yeah.
But I think if it was different, I might have considered it because it is such a, I mean, it's a good option,
Yeah, most of the people that I joined with, they didn't join because they just was patriotic. They was trying to go to school and
but those are good reasons too.
learn a trade, or they didn't know what they wanted to do with their life type stuff. So
I didn't have anybody spelling out the trade part for me though. I didn't think that was a thing. I just assumed.
Yeah, man. Dang. Yeah. I guess a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, there wasn't people. There wasn't anyone in my life who had like. I don't think we had any. I'm trying to think of like my aunts and uncles on both sides. I don't think we had any like military people.
Okay.
My grandpa was in World War II, but he was doing like what was he doing? I think he was doing real estate at the time. So he wasn't talking about and he's from he's from World War II. He was in like a bomber, so like he didn't really talk about war.
Okay, yeah.
Because that was that generation where they're like, they actually did stuff in war. They're not looking to tell you stories,
Yeah.
And
he saw some stuff.
Yeah, I guess he never told us about it.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the bombers he flew in, it was in like this book that somebody put together later, and they went out over the Pacific, and so I guess they dropped bombs on islands, and they were involved.
Yeah.
So I didn't have anybody going like, if you study, if you pass this entrance exam with a certain score or something, you can get into something else. And so I think if I had that, I might have considered it.
Yeah.
Because now I think about God, even just having access to like a VA loan or something. You know what I mean? How game-changing that is for some people, just getting a home.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can't wait to use mine, bro. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I've been looking.
Before we pass it up, man, tell me about that first experience at 17 years old, jumping on that stage. I know you talk about it in your special a bit, just talking about how you run through your 5-minute set.
Yeah.
Basically twice the speed, right?
So fast, man.
But who were like the influences? Like, what were you trying to talk about back then? Do you remember some of the jokes?
Yeah, I talked about, man, do you know who Corey Holcomb is?
Mm-mm.
Okay, he's a black comedian. I wanted to be like Corey Holcomb, man. So I had a little bit of his influence.
What was it about him?
His delivery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his delivery. He has a voice. I didn't have a voice. So
what does that mean, though? What do you mean? He has a voice, his delivery?
I think a voice is when a comedian, the way they say stuff or the way they write is so distinct, even if somebody else says it, you'd be like, man, that sounds like Corey Holcomb.
Gotcha.
I think that's a voice. Like
So-
that's Corey Holcomb-esque the way you said that.
So
Like
what do you
they
think
have
his voice was like? If you're trying to tell somebody, oh, he's like this.
So it's not one of my favorite. He is one of my favorite comedians right now, but just at the time, his voice was so distinct. It is. Corey Holcomb is one of those comedians. He says things that shock you that nobody else would probably ever say.
Okay.
But he's so funny, he gets away with it.
Mm.
And it's stuff that you probably shouldn't even be laughing at.
Yeah.
But
so
you like
charismatic, huh?
charisma, and he says it with a smile. He'll say the darkest thing with a smile, and he just got this delivery about it. You like, he really can say anything, and you can't help but laugh at it.
Yeah.
Because he just delivered. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you watched him on mute, you wouldn't believe the stuff that was coming out of his mouth. Like
Okay.
he's just laughing and stuff, and then
Yeah.
you be like, oh, this dude is crazy, man. So he was a big influence.
Yeah, so that I can see why then too, because if you're a teenager watching this, that's probably the first time you're hearing some of this wild stuff like that too.
Oh,
right?
yeah, for
That's
sure.
blowing your mind.
Yeah, man, you got to look at his Shaq All-Star.
Okay.
Corey Holcomb, the first time he was on Shaq All-Star, and that set is going to tell you everything you need to know.
I'll check it out.
He's one of the best comedians. So I had his influence on me for a little bit. I talked about getting threatened by my parents. That was the only two jokes I remember, bruh. Nothing great.
At least you avoided though, like, man, I don't know if it's just DFW. It feels like it's everywhere, just from what I hear on the internet anyway. But it's like you watch something like Kill Tony, all these people trying new stuff, these brand new comics. It's like at least you avoided just talking about like dick jokes. You know what I mean? At least that wasn't your first go-to like it is for so many people. That drives me nuts when you go to like an open mic and there's like 15 people and they're all starting in that lane of material, and it's like it never, unless you're really, really great, it never goes well.
Yeah, but
Because it's never clever. Like I think they're just...
it's what they see.
I mean, yeah, I know you're nervous. Like it's a new thing, you're trying, but it's like I wish there was a way to get to some of those people who are thinking about trying comedy and let them know like there's more interesting things about you than that. You know what I mean? And
You got to let them do it.
just work through it.
You have to talk about just that, because you look back and you grow. You know what I'm saying? And they starting out, they just saying what they think is going to work, what they think is funny. They don't really have all of that perspective and point of view and know their voice and know how they write and know, what works for them. It takes a while, bruh.
It's still funny though. Like none of these people talk to each other before they start, really, like from these different areas, and so many of them still go to those topics first.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like always, and but it is what it is.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, that first time, man, it wasn't. When I remember telling my dad I wanted to do comedy, that was the hardest I think he ever laughed.
Really?
When I just told him, because I was a quiet kid, bro. He was like, "Why? Like, where does that? Like, why you want to do that? You know what I'm saying?" If I didn't have to tell him, I wouldn't have. I would have just. But
You
I was
needed
like,
the ride.
You got to come with me. But
I'm not old enough to get in.
yeah, I've always been like a self-motivated person. I don't really need nobody. I just need to. But I got to tell you, dog. Like, can you go with me? You have to. I need you there. So, but yeah, I didn't do comedy for him or for nobody else. I just wanted to do it, man. Yeah. So
He's sitting in the room watching though that first time too, right?
oh yeah.
Ooh.
Man, I was so nervous, bro.
Well, you're already embarrassed to ask him,
embarrassed. Yeah.
and now he's. I mean, I imagine he's like in the back of the room, arms crossed.
no, it was
Okay.
He was cool about it. He just like
I don't mean angry, but just like, well, let's see what he's got.
yeah. Let's see. Yeah.
He thinks he's funny. Let's see what he's going to do up here.
Yeah, so I did like 2.5 minutes out of my 5.
Yeah.
Got up. I didn't try to do the whole 5. I was like, that's all I got.
So you had a little bit more to give.
No. That's all I had.
You went through everything.
When you practicing and rehearsing and you've never done comedy before, you don't know how the time works.
Yeah.
And then you get up there, you're nervous. You just running through stuff. You ain't giving them no pause. You have no stage presence.
Yeah.
It goes pretty quick.
And 2 minutes feels like forever when you're
when
you're up there.
Yeah.
The only thing I have to relate is music. I told you I play guitar and I played a lot of shows, and it's like even when you're doing music, it's like you'll go through a song and you don't realize you rushed it. And then you don't realize you rushed 3 or 4 songs, and before you know it, you look down, you're like, "Oh my god, we have so much time left, and we don't have that many songs left." Like,
that's exactly the feeling, bro.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's and you start
exactly
thinking,
it.
but the only difference is, at least in a band, it's like you've got other people with you, so you're all suffering.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can stretch it out. It's like, let's just drag that bridge out a little bit. Maybe do a little longer intro here. At least we have ways. You don't. You know?
It's just you in a silent room.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, do you remember that feeling when you came off that first one, though?
yeah, happy that it was over.
Mm-hmm.
It was a rush. I really don't even think I felt like, man, I want to do that again until my dad told me what he told me.
What'd he tell you?
I asked him, how was it? He said, man, I never seen nobody like you. He said, everything you do turns to gold.
Oh, that's right. I remember you talking about this.
Yeah. He literally told me that driving home, and I was like, oh, snap. I'm about to keep doing this forever, man. My dad said I'm good at it. You know what I'm saying?
You realize you have a pretty good dad, right?
Oh, yeah, for
okay,
sure.
good. Because he's, from what I've heard just in these few minutes, like, great advice. And then when you, like, he, even though he was making fun of you, he's like, man, you're going to be trash at this, but let's go. And then when you're done, he's still giving you a compliment and encouraging you.
Yeah.
That's great, man.
Yeah, my dad.
It's like a real testament to, like, what people can achieve if they have that. Just, even if it's not your dad, it's like, if you just have one good influence.
Straight up.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just one good influence makes a huge difference.
Somebody that believe in you, or say, sometimes it's just a word, bro.
Yeah, because that's one phrase, one night.
One phrase.
And what are you now, 12 years in?
Yeah, 12 years.
12 years.
12 years later, yeah.
So that kicked off a 12-year thing that hasn't stopped yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ever talk to him about that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I told her, but my
Does
dad,
he even remember saying it, or is he like, I don't know, I just say things,
man, my dad's so weird, man. I don't know if I always try to tell him that I appreciate him and stuff, but he don't receive stuff the way I think he's going to receive it. Like I told him before the special, I was like, I'm naming the special after what you told me, and woo. He was like, all right, that's what's up. Well, you good? Everything good? Like, he don't really...
You think it's just that generation, though? Those dudes weren't, they weren't raised to really talk like that.
Yeah, he's not real.
That way.
He's not real like, man, that means everything. He's not going to do that. He just be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much all you go get out of him.
You know what I think about with like dads from that era? It's like, even though I'm a little older, our dads are not too far apart in age probably. But it's like, I remember my dad trying to give us like the sex talk. I had an older brother, so I remember he's trying to give us the sex talk, and it's like, that generation, they don't talk about stuff, and it's like, we're literally like, it's like a cliche, man. He's like under the hood working on a truck, and he's like, it's just, pay me that over there. He's going, it's like, it's just, it's gonna be these girls, and like, we know things are gonna happen, and you just gotta be smart. You just got to be smart about these things. Like, it's just that kind of, and he's trying his best, but it's like that generation just doesn't.
They don't talk about stuff.
They don't have those conversations.
Yeah, they don't talk about stuff, man.
Yeah, it's funny, and now like that's all we do is talk about stuff like that. But
yeah, completely different generation. Yeah. So I always tell him no.
But he still knew when to come through with the advice, which is the important part about that generation. It's like, they're not detail oriented, and they're not going to tell you every day. But when you need it, they've got it usually.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
My dad, he was always there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He might not be the most emotional or something like that, but he gonna be there.
Yeah.
And he gonna support you, whether it was basketball, drum recital, whatever it was.
Yeah.
He gonna pull up.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Everything you touch turns to gold.
Yeah.
What a thing to say to a kid, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I believe it to this day, man. I believe it. My dad said it. I believe it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now you got to remember all this stuff whenever you have kids. Huh? I mean, I know you're not doing that right now. But just be smart. Just be smart. Yeah, man. So comedy at 17. When do you think you actually started taking it seriously, though?
18.
Oh, so not too long.
Yeah, I shout out to Bruce Nix. He recorded my first special and my second special, and Lord willing, he gonna record every single one of them.
Okay. Yeah, I saw him in the credits.
Yeah,
I was looking at who did your special because I liked the way it was done. Who was? There's 2 of them on there. I was looking at both of them.
I don't know. It's his team.
Oh, okay. So is his team Undercover Productions?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's his team.
Okay. Yeah. So I was looking at the credits, but I loved it. I like when specials are shot in comedy clubs.
Yeah.
I like that because I think they look beautiful when they're in theaters, right? I mean, that's amazing. And it's like when you get to that level and you can do a theater, you should do it. But there's just something great about a comedy room, a comedy club, you know?
Can I tell you why I want to do a theater?
Uh-huh.
Because that was my first time doing a comedy special in a comedy club.
Mm-hmm.
And you forget that to you, this is a big night. This is a special. To them, this is a comedy club night. So it's food, it's orders, it's, you know what I mean? I even had to, I think we had to cut it out, but I was like, can we not drop the checks right now? Like, I'm about to wrap it up. I promise nobody gonna leave. So, all right, let's get back into, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot going on. They opening the door. It was another show. So I was in a small room at the Stardome. It's a big room that hold like 350 people. And it was rocking over there.
So you're getting some of their laughter.
Oh, it was. I asked Bruce, I was like, bro, the audio didn't catch all that. He was like, nah, we good. But they was kill. Whoever the comedian over there, they was killing. I was like,
well, even in your special, there's that little moment where you're kind of razzing them a little bit about like, dude, stop with your to-go boxes right now. Like,
yeah.
You hear the plastic, you just hear the little,
yeah,
just going. Yeah, I mean,
it was a lot, man.
I laugh at that stuff a lot. You know, I talked to you before. I had the chance to record a comedy special, and those were the things I was stressing about. We did ours at Hyenas in Dallas.
Okay,
similar environment. You're in a club, and they sell food and all stuff. And you know, it's like the little things that are out of your control. Yeah. I got really lucky. There was this one edit where Lawrence is saying a punchline, and before he hits the punch, there's a nice little pause that he does. So he's like da 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 da, you know, or whatever it was. And right in between that, somebody in this club ordered like champagne or something, which I didn't even know Hyenas had this. Maybe it's something different. Maybe it's just some fancy corked wine or something. But he's like da da da, and you just hear, you just hear a cork go. And then you know, and then he finishes his thing, and it's like, I got so lucky that it was in dead silence, so I could go, we'll just turn that down. But but there's all those things like, you know, if somebody's got chicken strips and they're just rustling that paper that the chicken strips come on, and that the microphones just pick all that up so perfectly, you know. They can be in the back of the room, and you just hear, yeah. But I still think comedy clubs are where it's at. But you were saying theater. I guess it's more of an occasion. They know, like, we're here for this. Is that what you were getting at?
Yeah, and it's no waiters walking around. It's no, like, pretty much at a theater, it's just people sitting, facing, and watching the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's just easier. But I get what you're saying, though. I like the intimacy of a comedy club. But a theater, man, it's just less distractions.
You know what I think this is my opinion around the Dallas comedy scene, right? And I won't name drop, but I think there are some clubs right now that are training, maybe not training. I think there's some clubs who are going after the comedy audiences. So like if they come to the club, they're excited about watching comedy. They probably know the person they're buying tickets for. Like I think there's some clubs locally who are picking up a lot of these newer headliners. Like this might be the first time they're doing a big headlining room and they're not from here.
Okay.
So I think people are like, oh, I saw them on Instagram or I saw them on, you know, Jimmy Fallon or something. I want to go see them. And these headliners, they may not even be selling out the rooms yet, but I think some of these clubs are fostering that, like, let's build a comedy crowd that knows, like, if they're coming to our club, there's going to be a variety. We'll check it out. Mm-hmm. And then I think there's some comedy clubs that are still like, whatever it takes to pack the room. So, like, you know, a lot of times when you paper that room, when you're sending out those free tickets, you're selling the tickets, but, like, I don't know that you're getting the audience you necessarily want to build for your club.
No, for sure.
Right? So, for instance, like, I went to see a friend from out of town perform. He came into Dallas, and we went up and watched his late show on Friday, right? Late shows are always a little wild, right? I'm not going to say the club because I don't want to throw him under the bus here. You probably know the guy.
I think I went to that show too. I went to the Saturday one though.
Okay, I went Friday.
Does he do cruise ships?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Great beard?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was my first time meeting him. Funny as hell too.
Did he tell you on this Friday night show there was like a brawl?
Yeah, he told me.
Yeah. And so that's the whole thing. It's like, you know, there was this table that was like, it's one thing if you're heckling a little bit and you get thrown out. You kind of expect that at clubs here and there, right? Mm. But this was like a server got punched. Then they walked the people out, and then some of the people came back, and then they're fighting servers in between the lobby area and the venue. And it's like the opening comic is having to like break people up, and you're just like, what's going on here? And I think that's what happens when you don't don't find comedy lovers for your audience,
Yeah.
right? I think that's what you get, and what you're talking about, I think, is 100% true. You get somebody who's just eating finger foods, hope they're funny.
Right, you got to prove yourself.
We could have went anywhere tonight.
They got free tickets. They don't care too much. Yeah.
Whereas I think, so now that you know the place I'm talking about, I think if they invested time into trying to find the true comedy fans in DFW, like if they figured out some marketing to make sure you're getting comedy lovers in there versus just, we got this free thing, we thought we'd try it, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you had 80% comedy fans and 15, 20% of new people, that would be a good balance.
Oh, yeah.
I think that would change that a little bit, but that particular place, I don't think they're interested in doing that.
Yeah, some places just do what they do, man. They're not real interested in...
They got a formula that they think works for them. They're not going to change it.
Yeah, they just trying to do the business side. They don't really care about the
Yeah.
art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we just trying to...
That's what it is. You know, it's to me, I look at that and I'm like, man, if you cared a little bit more just about the art, about like fostering this, because it's a great club.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and it could be top club in the city if they wanted it to be.
Yeah.
But it's like you gotta have some off nights where you're developing talent, where you're working on getting this stuff in here that's good for the comedy scene.
Yeah.
So I hope they do. I know they've been shuffling people around there in terms of like management and things like that. So hopefully they get some people in there that do that, because like having a brawl, it's like, what is going on? Like I didn't think I was going to come out tonight, see an old friend, and maybe catch a punch.
Man,
you know,
that's not the first fight I've seen there. I got to tell you,
Uh-huh.
My first open mic when I moved to Dallas, a fight popped off. Very first open mic in Dallas, a fight popped off.
Was it
Same.
just the crowd, or did the comedian get hit?
Comedians? I got to tell you who. I got to tell you later though. But
Okay.
you know him.
I think they might have told me about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's somebody, yeah. I already,
Yeah.
I think I already know. Yeah, I already know what you're talking about. So that was when you just moved here?
That was my first night at an open mic in Dallas.
We won't talk about it on here because now the audience is just like, well, tell us.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin the club. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That was my first impression, bro.
That's a tough first impression, man. That's a tough first impression.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what brought you here to begin with?
Just being from Alabama, when I was stationed in Shreveport, I used to drive to the same club. After work, I would drive from Shreveport to Dallas,
Oh my gosh.
sign up for the open mic. You know they don't put you up to 12, 1 in the morning, do my spot, drive back to Shreveport, and make it to work the next morning. So I said, if I ever get out the military, I'm just live in Dallas, because that's where all of the comedy is. Y'all got so many comedy clubs here, bro.
I know. I
So-
feel very fortunate that we do. That's why I get so invested in, like, you know, man, if all of those clubs cared to the max, how deadly would this scene be for comedy? It's already a good scene.
It's already
good, and I still don't even think we've hit our full potential yet. You know what I mean? There are still off nights where we're not selling tickets. There are still big acts who don't come through, and it's like, man, this. I don't think y'all realize we got all this, and we still have room to grow.
Wow.
You know, that's kind of the way I look at it. It's like, and some of these clubs could be selling tickets on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
They could.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah.
You know, they could get big shows on those nights in addition to like unique local shows. And I know some of them are working on it. Some of them are going to get there. Some of them won't. But
That's why I moved to Dallas.
that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for X-ray, y'all got a lot of hospitals here too.
Ton of hospitals.
So I
right
said, y'all got hospitals and comedy clubs. I can make a living in Dallas.
Welcome, man. Welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. It sounds like it's treating you well so far. So that's good.
I'm gonna stay forever. If I have the say,
yeah.
I'm here, bro. I
Alright,
love
man.
it.
Do you what's the comedy scene like in Alabama though? Do you get to go back home and work there?
Yeah. We got one comedy club,
That's the one.
and not
where you
in
recorded?
Alabama, in Birmingham. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that's in Hoover, Alabama.
How
But-
far is Hoover from Birmingham?
Maybe like 30 minutes.
Okay, so it's kind of like a Dallas Frisco thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, growing up, I just had one comedy club, and it was rooms. You know what I mean? Just different clubs and bars, and you know what I mean, doing comedy for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the different scenes are interesting, man.
Yeah.
What about the comics over there?
Oh man, I love. So I was starting out, so I loved everybody.
Yeah.
What I like about Dallas, man, I think you have the privilege of being around comedians at different levels. Like when I started comedy, everybody around me was starting comedy.
Gotcha.
I don't got no advice for you. You ain't got none for me. Let's just do it. You dig? But here, I think you be around comedians that have been doing it 10 years, 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can ask questions and stuff. Like, the community is just a lot bigger here. Mm-hmm. So I think that's dope, bruh.
That's some of the stuff. I mean, I'm hearing you talking about how you were driving from Shreveport to here just to do the open mic.
I loved comedy, bro.
Right? But I'll hear people around here like, man, that mic's in Fort Worth. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, come on. Yeah. Like, do you want to do it or not?
Yeah.
You know, and I say all this like I'm not a comic. I don't do stand-up comedy. I just enjoy it. But, you know, it's like, it doesn't matter what it is. It's like if you're wanting to do it and a 30-minute drive is stopping you, how bad do you really want to do this?
You got to ask yourself that, man.
How bad do you really want to, you know?
Yeah.
And because we have all these opportunities. It's like if you can't build something in DFW, you know, I don't know what to tell you.
I think that's what it is. Y'all got too many opportunities. In Shreveport, I didn't have a lot. Like, it was either drive to Dallas or not get on stage that week.
Yeah.
So I think just y'all got so much. You don't have to drive to Frisco.
Yeah,
like,
you get a little spoiled.
I just wait tomorrow and do 3 mics near me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all don't got to do that.
I wonder if that's going to get better or worse with, you know, because we're just talking about kind of Dallas and Fort Worth, but the reality is like all of North Texas is really growing in the comedy scene here. You know, it's like Plano's got its club now, McKinney's got its club, and then when you go out east, it's like Tyler has that new beautiful club now.
Yeah.
And so it's like all of North Texas
Rose
is kind of
City.
really growing. I've heard about, you know, there's a place in Rockwall. I haven't been there. I think it's Jack's.
Yeah.
Haven't been there yet. But point being, it's like there's all these big towns that are people are starting to go, I could do like a club out here, even if it's a small club.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if that'll make it better or worse. People being like, oh, I'll just go to this one. I'll just go to that one. Or, you know, you're going to get some hustlers who go, I will hit 3 places every night in North Texas now, you know?
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how all that unfolds. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think I really don't even, this is going to sound crazy.
Uh-huh.
I really don't even believe in a comedian until they've been doing it about 3-4 years. Because I'm like, you got to, let me see that you're going to be here.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people that I started with, I say, bruh, 80% of the people I started with don't do comedy no more.
Right.
You know what I mean? People do it for a while, you know, but then everybody don't really want to do it. Because it's not a glamorous
Yeah, and it's
job.
hard.
It's hard, bruh.
When I decided I was going to do this podcast, you know, I enjoyed comedy. I really liked comedy. But I'd never really experienced like the open mics or the bar shows. I'd just been going to comedy clubs. And it's like it's easy to love comedy when you're seeing the best stuff all the time, right?
Right, yeah.
And, you know, this somebody put me on to Kill Tony, and it's like whatever people's polarizing opinions are about that show, the root of it, of like you're listening to someone do a minute of comedy for better or worse, right? That was my first kind of, you know, there were open mics with music, but I didn't realize there were open mics with comedy. So I didn't know that was a thing, and so I'm hearing this show 1 minute and how hard it is to get a good minute to a cold audience or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And then where I live in Dallas, we live near Hyenas. They got that Wednesday open mic, or they did at the time. I don't know what they're doing now, but I was like, I'm gonna go see what this open mic thing's like in real life. You know, I want to see what this is like, and it blew my mind. I had no idea, first of all, that there were so many people trying it.
Yeah,
because at the time, you know, I remember it. First of all, the thing I remember the most was the door guy. You know, he thought I was a comic. He's like, no, sign up or whatever's done or something. I was like, oh, no, I just want to check it out. He's like, oh, you just want to watch? I was like, yeah, is that okay? He's like, yeah, let's go in.
Yeah.
You know, like they were excited.
We need you.
Yeah, exactly. Which I didn't know. I didn't know people didn't watch these. I thought like there's going to be like 60 people in here. You know, I'm thinking a comedy show.
Yeah.
And then I see the blocks on like their TV screens or whatever where you're like, there's a block and there's like 7 comics in each block. And oh my God, is that like 8, 9 blocks? How many blocks are up here?
Crazy.
Yeah, because I think at that time it probably started at 9.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know this thing was going to go till like 1 a.m.
Yeah, man.
And so,
yeah, bro.
But I was eating it up. I was loving it. I was like, I want to see the worst of this.
How much time was each comedian getting?
I don't know.
3?
Probably 3 minutes. Yeah, it was probably 3 minutes because it was just long enough when it was bad to be like, oh my God, are we still here? You know?
Yeah.
But the first guest on this podcast was a guy named Daniel Magden. I don't think he's still working around here locally. I think he moved. But And that was one of the reasons he was the first one on. I thought he was hilarious. I'd seen him at some other stuff. But the first time I had saw him was at that open mic. And it was just this dead open mic, just a whole series of people struggling. And then he gets up there and somehow he tells a couple funny jokes and turns it around.
Awesome.
So that was my first experience of like, oh, you can turn it just like that?
Just like that.
Because
bro.
it was feeling depressing. You know,
Wow.
it was feeling rough.
Yeah.
Because I told myself, I was like, I'm going to watch
been
this. I was like, I'm going to watch this from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see what a whole thing is like to really, you know. And it was just such a great experience of going like, wow, like that wasn't given to him. It wasn't like the audience was good. He didn't luck into that. Like he had to like scratch and claw for that laughter, and he got it.
Yeah.
And that started this whole appreciation of, okay, when I see a killer murdering the show for an hour, how much of that did they have to go through to get good, you know? And it just, I had this whole new appreciation of like, if someone's that funny, it took them that much work. Oh my God. Like that's like my whole idea of like funny was recalibrated. Wow. To kind of appreciate like, that is like a real talent. Cause you know, before that you just think like,
They just talking.
well, and you think, you know, how hard is it to be funny? I've said a couple funny things in my life, you know? Like, you get that false confidence. So that open mic was just such an eye-opener, and it was such a big deal. And I would go back a couple times, and my wife was like, don't ever invite me to this ever again.
You invited your wife?
Yeah, because I was loving it, and I was like, you got it. You just need to come see it. And she was like, I'd never, you know, she was like, my teeth, I was grinding them more than I ever have. And she's like, I can't go back. My jaw hurts. Like,
Nah, honestly, bro, you're a different dude, bro. Don't nobody like, especially hyenas open mic. It'd be like 60 comedians or something.
it was rough.
Crazy,
I only
bro.
did the start to finish that, you know, like that one time. 'Cause
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to see one, like, I want to know what this whole night's like. I just want to absorb this for a moment, you know?
Okay, you just had to get that.
It was like
experience.
research, you know?
Yeah.
And
I guess it's more fun when you're not the 57th comedian waiting
Oh,
to
yeah.
go up. So you're like I'm just watching. having
yeah,
a good
well,
time.
and it's like I didn't know anyone in the comedy scene.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's new to me. So it's like you'd get the random good comic up there too. And you're like, okay, I guess this person like knows something. And it's like later on, you're like, oh yeah, they've been doing this like 10 years, you know? But it was, you know, and then I went to other open mics and I had a gauge. So then I
Okay.
got to see kind of what an open mic was, where it was a little more curated, a little more controlled, you know? And I mean, some of them are great, you know?
Yeah, they are.
But then you also realize, like, it's like the minor leagues of comedy. It's so important. It's like, this is where you're developing. This is where you're building.
Oh yeah.
So it's like these clubs. It's like you got to foster that if you want to keep this rotation of funny people coming through.
Yeah, man.
But I totally agree with you, man. That 3-4 year mark, the amount of people I've seen at these open mics that they are gone now, you know?
You're right.
Just
Yeah.
gone forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever hit that point where you're thinking, I don't know,
Nah.
it was just always fun?
Oh, from 17 to 18, I just knew comedy consumed me. It was all I thought about, all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And a lady prayed with me because I told her this, and she said, if it's on your mind that much, God put it on you, and that's what you're supposed to, like, stop questioning it. And ever since then, I ain't never thought about quitting. Even when I went overseas, I was in Italy for 3 years. I didn't have a comedy club. I used to perform from my couch, bro.
Really?
Dead serious, because I was so scared that I was just gonna come back and be trash. So I used to, I got to host a open mic. Shout out to Nephew Sold Out and Yoshi. They had an open mic. They were rappers. So it was just two rappers with an open mic, no host. I was like, bro, y'all gotta have more than just, can I host? They was like, we was hoping you would, bro. I thought,
oh, thank God.
I thought you was gonna do it. Yeah. So I got to host the open mic karaoke thing. That was like once every other week, but I really didn't have a workout room, bro. So
Did you ever think about performing for your buddies in the military? Like while you're over there? Did you ever think like, hey man, why don't get like 5 or 6 y'all, I'll run this material by you?
nah,
Too close.
never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, all right. So then you came back from Italy and you were still in Alabama?
Nah, I moved here immediately.
Immediately. Okay. When did you
January 2021.
When did you start working on cruise ships?
January 2023.
Okay. So fairly recent then.
Yeah, it's new.
You know, I've been real fascinated with cruise ship comedy because you're now the third comic that I've talked to on this show who has done cruise ship comedy, right? So there's you, there's John Stringer, and then I had a guy Zoltan Kazas. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Nah.
He's like popping off. He's getting bigger. Look at him. He's not from here. He's from California. Now he lives in New York. He did that move, but he's like millions of views on his specials.
Oh,
he's
wow.
like he's doing it. You know.
Hell yeah.
And but it's just weird, right? So when I'm talking to comics who have done cruise ship comedy, and then when I've been on cruises and watched cruise ship comedy, I think good comedian, good comedy, but it has that stigma. You know what I'm saying? But John Stringer, I got to work with him on like he was making some submission tapes, trying to get on festivals or something, whatever, I don't know. But he was like, hey man, I need to record a clean set and I need to record a dirty set. I was like, okay. And so, you know, I'm hearing, I thought he was funny at the time. I'd already seen his stuff. But in the back of my mind, you're hearing this stuff about like, oh, you know, this cruise ship comic, that's what you do when you can't make it or something, right?
Yeah.
But then I watch him for, you know, 2 nights doing 2 shows, do, you know, full hour of clean material and then another full hour of not clean material.
John Cole, man.
And you're like, you got fucking 2 hours of material? And these people are saying cruise ship comics don't do it, you know? And then I think it was after that is when I met Zoltan. Same thing. It's like, I'm watching this guy. He's got millions of views. He was saying, you know, like, this is the thing that basically, like, I can do this and cover my bills, and then I can focus on comedy knowing my bills are covered, right? You know, and he's got a plan for this. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, you know, there's certain comics on our scene. It's like, why aren't you attempting that? Why aren't you doing this many weeks a year on a cruise ship? One, because hopefully it's paying enough that it's worth it, I imagine. It seems like it's lucrative from the people I've talked to. And then 2, I think maybe you can explain it more, but from what I've been explained, it's like there's some rules when you're working in that environment, like when you're on these cruise ships, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a little tighter. And it seems like maybe having those boundaries makes you work a little harder on your set. Because you know, like, not only do, like, if I don't perform well for a couple times, I could lose this gig.
Right.
It could be over. Mm-hmm. Right? So, like, what is your thought process on that? 1, like, what has your experience been like doing it? And 2, why do you think it's got that stigma?
I've had a great experience.
Mm-hmm.
I started in 2023, and it's what allowed me to do comedy full time.
Yeah.
So I have no complaint. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I think it has that stigma because some comedians, from my experience, they've been doing it 30 years out there.
Oh, okay.
They don't care no more.
Just 30 years on the cruise ship, huh?
One dude, I was working with him. He was from maybe Australia or something, but he'd been doing it like 30 years on a cruise ship. He said he's retired. He said, this is my retirement plan. So he's not writing a joke. He's not, he's just up there going through the.
Yeah.
He don't care, bro. He been doing this 30 years, bro. He could care less.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, when a lot of that is mixed in, maybe, you know, people have seen some bad stuff or not as good stuff.
How do you think that guy keeps that job, though? Is it just that he's reliable?
At 30 years,
Yeah.
You probably got grandfathered in some type of way,
gotcha.
bro. You know what I'm
And I guess
saying?
you're good enough, right? Like you're doing, if you've got 30 years of experience, you know how to do it, even if you're not excited about it, right?
Yeah, you stayed at a place for 30 years. Yeah, they can't let you go.
Well, what's some of the differences when you're performing on those ships versus, you know, clubs or just like, because that seems like alternate comedy world, regular comedy world.
Yeah, it's different. I think it's hard for a lot of comedians because they put it like this. This is a corporate gig without a corporate audience. So we have to be corporate-ish.
Yeah.
In front of these drunk cruise audience. Sometimes it's a family show, so it's kids there. It's like chaos sometimes, but you can't be all the comedian that you want to be sometimes.
Gotcha.
Sometimes you're restricted just for the check. And a lot of people, they don't want to, you know, comedians, they want to do whatever they want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you can't like suppress that for a little bit in order to get this check and get up out of here, you're not gonna like it.
So what's like an average run when you're going to go with one of these cruise ships? You know, are you going out for like a cruise a week, or are you hopping on different boats? How's it usually go?
It's no average. It's random.
Just random. Okay.
Sometime I'll be gone 4 days, come home for 3 days, be gone for another 3 days, then be home a week. Sometimes I'm gone for 2 weeks at a time.
Mm-hmm. So since you're in Texas, are you always going out of like Galveston, or are you hopping around the country?
Random. I'm leaving out of L.A. next week.
Okay.
I leave out of Miami a lot. They flew me to Ireland one time to join the ship.
Really?
Yeah, it's I do a lot of stuff from Galveston,
Yeah.
but it's also it's like you can't predict it. You just got to look where the flight tickets.
All right. And so like, what's a day like? Right, you flew in, you get on the ship.
Mm-hmm. All right, so
what's the routine when you're doing this?
Most of the time, they'll fly you the day of. Sometimes they'll do you the day before, but the day of, I'll get there, I'll join the ship.
Do you get to go into like a nice employee entrance, or do you got to get in line with everybody?
Depends on what ship you
Okay, all right. We don't have to talk about specific ships.
Yeah. Some ships treat you like a guest. And
Okay.
those are beautiful. You get a guest cabin, and some ships treat you like a crew. And yeah, you gotta get in line, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Get treated like a crew member. But that first day, man, on a lot of ships, they just want to make sure that you on there. So you got to check in. You know what I mean. They give you your schedule for the week. So you got 2 shows. They always make me perform the day I get on the ship. So it's like, all right, you got 2 shows tonight, 1 show tomorrow, 2 shows the next day. And, you know, you get all of that. You get in your room. I like to hang my clothes up. I started like dressing up now, man. Shout out to Daniel Dugar. He an OG, man. He showed me the importance of, kind of, putting it on.
Presentation.
Your presentation,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
You get different opportunities, and people look at you different when you present a different type of way. So I hang my stuff up. I take a nap immediately. Because a lot of times, bro, I don't sleep the day before because I'm always procrastinating, packing the night before. Mm-hmm. And then you got a 6 a.m. flight, so it's like...
So now you're nervous about missing everything.
Yeah, I don't want to go
to time.
Yeah, so I go to sleep immediately, and then I get up, I walk around the ship a little bit, get me something to eat, and get ready for the show.
So you're really just kind of hanging out on the cruise ship all day, huh?
For sure.
Man.
A lot of downtime.
Yeah. I mean, at first that's fun, right? But then after you've done it a couple times, now it feels like downtime, right? So
Yeah.
what are you doing to keep it interesting? When you're in shape, you just hitting the cruise ship gym 4 hours a day, or like?
Hell no, I wish, bro. I'd be going crazy if I did. I'm
snapping microphones in half when you get on stage.
I'm a fan of live entertainment, man. So they got a lot of shows and stuff going on. I'm always checking out the shows.
So they let you do that? Some of them.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You can check out a show. Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't know if they were like, hey, that's for the guest. You know, get back in your.
They not that bad, man.
That's good.
But also, man, I'm real considerate, man. So I'm very aware that I can see this show anytime. If it's like no seats left, I'm not about to take the last seat, bro. I work here. Y'all can sit down. So I stay out the way. Somebody told me when I started, they was like, stay invisible. Show up on time. Do good at your shows. And other than that, be invisible, bro. That's how you going to stay out here for a long time.
Yeah. Good advice.
Yeah, they like, don't be all, you know what I mean? Just stay invisible and get that check and stay out the way, bro. So, yeah. I think the biggest thing that I had to learn, bro, is kind of like what you said, like the music references. You was like, I don't get none of this. When I went out there and
those are my people on the cruises.
A majority white audience, and I'm trying to do some old gospel. They like, they didn't respond like, you know what I mean?
I'm just picturing my parents watching that and just being like, I mean, it's good, but I don't know.
Yeah. So I learned how to code switch out there because like that first year, some cruise ships were cool because it was like mixed and a lot of people that look like me. But then I got on different cruise ships. It was like older white people. I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to, they're not going to get none of my references. I have to change it up. I figured it out, but it took some work, bruh. Mm-hmm. And I'm thankful for it because I'm like, I'm going to need this one day.
How much material do you think you went in with on that first cruise ship?
So the first cruise ship, I needed to have 3 30 minutes.
3 separate 30-minute sets?
3 30-minute sets.
Oh, so I'm talking about an hour and a half there.
Hour and a half, yeah. But I had already dropped a special, and I was ready for my next one pretty much. So
but still, hour and a half's an hour and a half.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
So I thought I had 330s for sure, but once I figured out, okay, some of this stuff not gonna work on this audience, I probably had 324s.
Yeah. So what are you doing at that point? Are you just panic writing in the room?
Pulling out stuff that I hadn't did in a long time, trying to fix it up or trying to expand on stuff. A lot of stuff was when I would watch the other cruise comedians, they had a lot of cruise ship jokes. Like stuff just about the buffet, about the ice cream machine, about the pool. I'm like, so I'm walking around.
I was about to say, I'm picturing you with a little notebook going around, just watching somebody at the buffet going,
literally, bro. Literally, like that first, bro, I'm just walking around. I'm like,
you're just smiling to yourself? Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to try that tonight. That was funny. So I got me some cruise ship jokes now. So, just... I'm good now.
That's interesting.
I'm more than good. So I'm trying to build even more material now so I don't have to ever repeat while I'm on the ship. That's my goal. That's my goal.
Just in case somebody does go to all 3 shows.
They do that all the time.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. I've always just thought it seems to me like there's this generation of comics, right, where and look, there's so many different paths, right? Who am I to say like one path is the path, right? You pick your path and go for this comedy thing.
Yeah.
But there are some comics where I'm like, hey, if you're worried about an income, like if you need an income, this seems like a path you should look into.
Yeah.
You know, and because I've told people that know John, I'm like, hey, you should talk to him about that, what it takes is, could this work with this? Because, or if you know anybody who does cruise ships, just to see, like, if you really want to chase that comedy dream, but you need a steady check and you don't want to do Uber Eats and all this stuff like these dudes all do. I think they romanticize, like, I'm grinding, I'm struggling. This is the comedy struggle we got to get through.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't have to struggle like that to try to write funny jokes, And it just seems like such a great, because you said you went in there thinking you had 3 30-minute sets, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much material do you think you have now that you've gone through all that, and then you also still do your regular comedy stuff, when you're back on land?
I probably got an hour and 50 now. Yeah. I got my 330s, and if they needed another show, I got about a hot 20 I could hit them with. That's apart from that.
So it's forcing you to grow.
Yeah, bro. I want to always.
You're almost at 2 hours of material.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's getting easier to write 30 minutes now? Like, do you think you can create a new 30 minutes faster than what you used to, or is it still kind of the same process?
I'm not proactive as I should be. I think a joke from conception to it actually works in real life is quicker now. Because I think I've been doing it long enough. I kind of know the beats.
Yeah.
Like if I say it like this and then put this part in there, and you know what I'm saying, and then have this, I think that's quicker. But I don't force myself to write enough. I don't sit down and be like, all right, let me look through my notes. I'm gonna finish this joke today. I kind of let it come naturally, and I think I don't. That's why I don't know. Stuff pops in my head, and I'm like, oh, that'll work, and that happens pretty often. But I think if I like forced my hand, I probably could.
I get real curious about you guys that are around this 10-year mark, right? Because like my comedy journey, I feel like just as like a podcast host, in terms of my knowledge, it feels like I'm probably at the level of like what an MC would be. Like I've figured out kind of what MC work really is, and there's still so much to learn and explore.
Yeah.
But what it feels like with these guys like yourself who are in, 10-year spots, you've already done feature work, you're doing headlining work, you're getting out, you're doing it. To me, it feels like, okay, when you hit this 10-year mark, you basically spent this last 10 years learning how you personally are funny.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now seems like you got an idea of like who you are on stage, your voice, what you like to do, what you don't like to do. You know how to write. But then you hear these overnight successes, right? Where it's like, oh man, this new comic just came out. And then you look him up and you're like, he's been doing this 18 years. He's been doing this 20 years. And he's just now famous. So it almost feels like when you guys hit that 10-year mark, if you've been actively doing it anyway, trying, that's almost like your prerequisite. Like, it's like, okay, all right, Trey, you're 12 years in. Now you get to start.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does it feel that way? Like, I mean, do you feel like, okay, I know what I'm doing now. I bet I can write this next hour in a year.
My next hour is pretty much done already.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't put out the next hour until I already got like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I'm scared to.
Yeah.
I mean,
big jump.
I'm not popular or nothing, so I could do my old jokes, but just holding your steps to a standard, I want to do new stuff after the old one.
Well, that's what I just went through with Lawrence. You know, I was like, hey, man, I'd love to record this and release it. You know, I was like, are you ready to burn all that?
Yeah.
Like, you ready? And that was the first time he'd really thought about that, I think, of, you know,
It's
man,
scary.
it took me so long to do this, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but you know you're capable of doing it again, right? Like, but what do you think it's going to be like for you between your, 12 and 20? Like, what are some of the goals now? Because, I mean, when you think back, starting at 17 to this point,
Yeah.
that's a lot of milestones, a lot of accomplishments. And now it's like still all this runway in front of you.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure it out. My goal was always to do it full time. Mm-hmm. I like comedy, bruh.
What's full time for you, though? What does that look like?
What I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to be famous. I don't like, for lack of a better word, I'm not a fan of people a lot. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of like, I'm an introvert, bro. I don't need all that going on. I just like doing comedy, bro. So I'm trying to figure that out. I've accomplished all of my goals.
Does that just mean, I want to sell tickets to a headlining weekend? Or is that what you mean by full time?
No. Full time is comedy is all I have to do to pay all of my bills
Right.
and live my life.
Yeah. So like when you're hitting a stage to pay your bills full time.
Okay.
Like what does that stage look like to you? You like working in comedy clubs? Do you still want to mix in the cruise ships? Or like what does that life look like for you that's paying all your bills with comedy?
Oh, okay.
Is it 5 shows in a weekend?
I've never pictured that.
Okay.
Because I like my comedy journey, I wasn't around comedy clubs a lot until I moved here. Then I was around comedy, but we had one back home, and I was new. I wasn't there a lot. Then I was in the military for 7 years, so I wasn't around. So that's new. That's you know what I mean. Doing
So
5
these
shows.
are some
in
of
a
the things
weekend.
you're gonna have to figure out of what.
Yeah.
What's
so
the direction, huh?
It's cool, but I mean that's
Because I'm sure you know by now, right? It's like whatever you're doing now won't be what you're doing 10 years from now. Right? Nothing stays the same. Everything always adjusts a little bit, right?
Yeah,
Even if
for
you
sure.
wanted to keep it just like this, it wouldn't be possible, right?
Yeah, right, yeah.
So it'll just be, I'm just always kind of curious about guys that are a decade in who are clearly doing it, like you said.
Yeah.
It's like capable of doing it. And now it's like, I wonder what path they're going to take. There's all these different paths. Yeah. It's just interesting. I don't expect you to have an answer, I guess, but.
I don't know, man. I see me doing one-nighter stuff. I think I could do some churches. I see me doing churches. I see me doing
Keep going back to church, huh?
corporate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always, yeah.
That's interesting, doing it with churches, huh?
I'm very comfortable there. I grew up in the church.
How do you adjust your material for that? I mean, other than the obvious, right? Like we're going to clean up the language and stuff, huh?
Yeah, clean it up. I think it just takes some stuff out.
Are those crowds closer to like your cruise ship crowds, you think?
A church?
Yeah.
Not the churches I be at.
Okay. All right. So somewhere in between, huh?
I think I've done one. Churches are very segregated, man.
Yeah.
So I've done one white church, and it did feel like a cruise ship.
Okay,
And I was
okay.
like, thank God I got this cruise ship experience, because I wouldn't know what to say up here if I didn't know. So yeah, sometimes.
Look, speaking of churches feeling that way, you've been in Dallas long enough, like you probably feel that way about the comedy scene too, right? At least I feel that way. It feels like we have
Segregated?
Yeah.
Oh, for
Does it
sure.
feel that way? So what do you think is happening there? Because like I feel like there's still this whole range of the black comedy scene I've never experienced, and I don't even know where to find it.
I got you.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you where they at.
Somebody was just talking about this to me the other night, because it's like I'll see some people that if they happen to be on a showcase at one of the clubs I already know, right? Then I might get a little taste of that, But someone was talking to me about how they felt like there are certain black comics who can kind of break into club work in DFW, and then there's a lot of black comics where it's like it's not even going to be an opportunity, and that's why there's this kind of alternative black comedy scene that we have here. Mm-hmm. Does that seem? I mean, this is what someone was telling me, and I'm just kind of observing. Does that feel?
I think
the
it's
same, or what do you
Yeah,
think?
I think it's vice versa though, man. Like when I'm watching comedians, if I'm in a black room, I'm like, man, he funny as hell, but that's room specific. Like that wouldn't work in front of the white crowd. Just the subject matter, the way he talking, Like I don't know if he could change it. But also I look at white comedians. I'm like, that's funny here. That would never work in the black room. So it's very segregated in that. And I think if you're not proactive about trying to make sure that I can do every type of room, you just gonna like I'm from the hood. I'm gonna do the hood room, or I'm from not the hood, so I'm gonna do the mainstream. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
you're going with what you're comfortable with.
Yeah. You going where you comfortable.
Was that your first experience then? Kind of, you said the cruise ship was pretty much when you started code switching with that, right?
Yeah, but I've been doing. I think that's the widest my crowd has been.
Okay, so you were already blending before that.
Yeah,
then.
I was blended all throughout. But when I got there and I would look at it'll be a theater full of people and there's 2 black people there. I'm like, oh, I can't even lean on. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? It's like I really have to learn this other language. That I didn't know I needed to know so bad.
Well, I'm glad you said that because this person was making it seem like clubs were almost shunning that. Their words, not my words, you know.
Some do, and I've heard them say it. Yeah, some do. Yeah, that's the thing for sure.
What do you think would get it crossing over more?
Willingness to
not even with the clubs, but like you were saying, like, you know, some of these white comics aren't going to these black crowds. Some of these black comics aren't going to these white crowds. How do we start just like you're in a sink or swim moment? Here we go. Have fun, learn something, get a little better at comedy, right? Because you're gonna improve if you do that, right?
You're going to improve, bro. Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, you definitely.
And funny's funny. If it's funny, they're gonna laugh.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it's gonna take some OGs with foresight to kind of tell younger comedians like, hey, come over here. You funny here, but I need you to come over here so you really see the world is bigger than this spot where you talk about weed and Lil Boosie.
Just start booking some showcases where you throw people in here or there.
Yeah. One of my questions I'll be wanting to ask young comedians, I haven't, got to use, but I want to ask, because a lot of them don't look to the OGs, or they feel like the OGs is like, you know what I'm saying? They feel a way about them. So I'm like, what type of OG would y'all look to and listen to?
You know, from what I've seen, just as an outsider, it's like I have the privilege of, I'm not trying to get on your show. I'm not trying to get an angle, right? So if I run into you it's like, look, we ran into each other. We didn't really know each other before this, but we bumped into each other for a second at that Cowabunga basketball thing they do. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And that's a good event. Like if you're a new comic and you wanted to kind of meet some people, it's like, that's a spot you could do that. Come play some basketball. But also, it's like, it's got to be a grind when you're a comic and you wonder, it's like, do they just want to like be on a show, get booked on something, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
I have the privilege of, I like comedy, and so I can come, and I'm not trying to get anything from you, so I don't have to, those barriers are usually down if I'm talking to a comic. They know there's nothing I can take from you right now that's going to benefit me in any way. I'm just here to play some basketball, or I'm just at the show, grabbing a drink, watching a show. And so I get to hear this kind of chatter.
Okay.
This more honest feedback. What I kind of feel like I hear is that I think some of these comics who've been doing it for a while, like we have some comics in our scenes that are 15 plus years in, killers.
Yeah.
And they come from that time where, you're going to get on a late show or you're going to get on a sitcom, and those are the things that would make you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then even before COVID, but especially post-COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
So much changed in y'all's comedy world of how you market and promote and what it means to be successful.
Facts.
It's almost flipped, right? It's like now you kind of need to be, this social media influencer so that you can sell your tickets to your shows, right?
Yeah.
Big deal, right? And that those 15-year plus veteran comics, they didn't have to do any of that. And to their credit, like I agree with them. It's like, it's kind of bullshit you have to do any of that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the way it is now.
Yeah.
And so from what I've heard from the handful of those folks that I've got to kind of listen whenever they bring it up, because I'm at that point when they start talking, I'm just like sitting on the bar stool just going, okay, I'm going to absorb all this, right? And I think they feel like, like I heard the phrase like, I don't know, maybe I'm just too long in the tooth, maybe I'm just too old. Maybe I'm just, maybe they don't think I have anything of value to give to them at this point, even though like they know that they could help. But I don't know if they feel like that younger crowd would even be receptive, or they'd just be looking at them like, dude, I don't know. Like, what do you got? Like 2,000 Instagram followers? What am I going to learn from you?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually what the younger group is thinking, but
They might, for
it
sure.
seems like that's what they are concerned is like, you know, they don't really, or like, they don't know what it's like to put the dues in. They're not 5, 6, 7, 8 years in yet. Like, they're not even going to listen. Why would I?
Yeah.
You know, and
yeah.
because, you know, you see it, right? You see somebody blowing up on social media and now they're booking out weekends. But the reality is if you've gone, have you ever watched anybody, like, you don't have to drop a name, but have you ever watched anyone who was kind of like TikTok famous or Instagram famous do an hour?
Yeah.
I've
booked people that was.
It's not
social
always a
media
good
famous.
hour, right?
It was horrible.
There we go.
Yeah.
And so I don't think those veteran comics see them struggling in the real comedy environment.
Oh, they see it.
Okay, some of them do.
Oh,
But I think some of them locally, it's just like, why are they getting that success? I've been grinding. Why are they? And it's like, they're getting a flash in the pan, but they're not like a real comic yet.
Yeah.
You know? So I think they know they're real comics, but I don't know that they feel respected by that younger group.
Okay.
I think the comics who've been in it 4 or 5 years and have kind of gotten some of those licks of like bad nights and stuff, I think then when they watch those veteran comics, like I think somebody who's 4 or 5 years in, if they watch somebody like, you know, Linda Stogner.
Oh, yeah.
I think now they appreciate like,
Yeah.
she's tight. She's tight at what she does, man. She's got it down.
Yeah.
And so but I think if you're 1 or 2 years in, I think they're just like, you know, I could do that.
Yeah.
And and that's what I feel like I've seen these younger comics. Maybe I'm sitting at a bar at an open mic and somebody who books one of these clubs who's, you know, maybe they're also a comic. And so these younger comics will come up, good intentions, like, hey, you know, I'm looking for opportunities like this. What do I do? And they'll give them some solid advice. Like, if you want to work there, you need to change this. You need to change that. That won't fly with those crowds. Adjust that, and you probably got a chance. And it'll be solid advice, right? That booker will go to the bathroom or something. And, you know, I'm just a fly on the wall, and you'll hear them going, bullshit. You don't have to change that. What do they fucking know? You know, and it's like they'll start going on. It's like, you just got great advice.
Yeah.
Great, unfiltered, to the point advice. They didn't tell you any lies. But, you know, a lot of those younger ones, it's like they want that, they're looking for that affirmation, even though they haven't really earned it yet.
Yeah.
So it's like the fact that person wasn't like, no, you're great. Like, we could get you in. They're looking for that.
Yeah.
And it's like, they gave you real feedback.
Right.
And that was incredibly valuable. So I don't know that those veterans are feeling like if they, like, why would I waste my time if they're just going to talk some shit after I give them
I think that's what it is.
real advice.
Yeah.
Whereas in the younger group, it's like, hey, man, if they told you this part wasn't good, but then they gave you some constructive, like, if you change that, it's like, hey, they didn't have to give you that.
Yeah.
That was solid stuff right there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I think they're just, I think they're both insecure in different ways.
Oh, for sure.
And that's that roadblock is.
Yeah.
Those veterans trying to get the younger one. Because I would love to see a blend of that. You know, it's
I
like,
would too, man.
you know, a blend of not only just the culture thing, but I want to see somebody who's been doing it 20 years on the same show as somebody who's been doing it 4 years.
Yeah.
You know, because there's going to be different perspectives, different angles. It's going to be a good show.
Yeah.
You know?
Even when I go to some open mics, I look at the list. I'm like, man, everybody on here has been doing comedy 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I know a lot of OGs who be talking about, man, I need a place to work out. Man, if they would come here, they could help some of the new comedians and everybody, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's just... Also, I forgot, I was watching some podcast, and a dude said it's hard to tell a new comedian who just blew up on social media. He been doing comedy 1 year, and he's selling out, making hundreds of thousands. Mm-hmm. It's hard to tell him, no, do comedy this way. He like, bruh, I'm good, OG.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm all right.
But you know, they're not very objective. It's like, are you filming that set? Are you seeing you're hearing the laughs how you want to hear them.
Yeah.
You're not hearing them how they really are.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Because I've seen more than, I'm not going to drop names, but I've seen more than a handful where you're like, I'm going to see I'm pretty excited about this person. Then you watch them, and it's like 20 minutes in, and you're like, it's not going well. And it doesn't look like it's getting any better. And then I've seen some, you know, like Addison Improv's a good example. They'll do those and Friends shows.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, so you watch this group of locals, and you're like, this is a better show than what I just paid for, you know, twice the price over here at this other thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird time. I don't think it's going to change drastically.
No.
But I think that realization of like, you still need to have an act.
Yeah.
I think that's going to start hitting harder.
Oh, for sure.
You know. But yeah, I would love to see more of that blended.
I want it to change with me when I become an OG, man. I'm trying to figure out how to bridge, like how to speak to people. Because also, I found that if you give advice to people who didn't ask for it, they don't receive it either. So you can't just walk up like it's a strategy on how to. It's a tactful way on how to do it. I just haven't figured it out yet.
Y'all are a tough group too, because like you're more of an introvert, right?
Yeah.
So if we're just hanging out, wherever we're bumping into each other at, it's like, what are the odds you're going to ask for advice from me anyway? Like you may not, because you're just more introverted to begin with, right?
I'm an introvert, but I say what I need to say.
Okay.
If I got a question or got something to give you, like advice, I'm not. Yeah, I'm gonna let you know it.
Well, but then there's also the people where how many of these comics, they just weren't the people who made friends and stuff when they were growing up, and that's part of the reason they got into comedy, right? Is like they felt like outcast, misfit toys, and they found comedy. So I don't know. They're just not like, they're probably so insecure in a lot of ways to even think about asking advice. I think a lot of it's just getting over that. Just going like, hey, if you're a comic, right, and you're talking to another comic, those barriers are down.
We get it.
Just do it. Just ask the question. Be cool about it, but ask it.
Yeah, and I think it's also, man, we got to take that pride down to just if you see somebody need it, just give it to them. They might not have asked anything, but I'm not tell them how to do comedy or be like, you need to do this. But be like, I watched your set, bro.
Yeah.
I think, you know what I'm saying? Woo, woo, woo. All right, I just wanted to give you that, bro. I'm not, ain't no pressure. You ain't got to listen to me, but I want to let you know.
Yeah.
I'm here to help.
I feel like, maybe it's a little arrogant. I don't know how I'll look back on this later, but I feel like as someone who's not performing, that I have a, like, I love comedy. I'm watching a lot of shows. I'm very involved. I'm seeing all the angles of y'all's stuff without stepping on the stage. So I feel like I can give you a little bit more unique perspective from a fan perspective than just the average comedy goer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I want to keep producing more work. And so now that you've recorded 2 now, right? Mm-hmm. How much did you learn after recording that first one?
Oh, man, so much, bro.
There was so much you didn't even think about, right?
So much, man.
And so going into your second one, you were able to make all these adjustments, right? And then after you do the second, right?
Yeah.
So again, just recording that one with Lawrence, I feel like, man, that was just a crash course on what worked, what didn't. And I'm not even up on stage, just talking about just from filming it and kind of curating it a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm thinking about that more and more. Now when I go watch your local show, even though we're not filming it, I'm thinking like, okay, this is what would have killed that just then.
Yeah.
And so I got like a handful of comics that I'm pretty close with where now they're feeling comfortable kind of asking me some questions and I'm feeling comfortable giving some answers.
Cool.
And I really like that.
Yeah, man.
I feel like, oh God, good. This is the thing I've been hoping you would ask me for like 2 years. Like, don't do that.
It's happening slowly.
Slow. And I just have to give myself patience of like, hey, you still have a lot to prove for people to trust that opinion anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, go do something that will make them earn your trust. And then if you want to give that advice, you can. So I think we're all in that same boat together. But, it's like, I won't say their name, but there's this one comic. I love their style, but it just doesn't hit. The crowds just can't. They're not on board. And they do some witty humor. It's pretty intelligent. And they're an intelligent person, but they haven't figured out how to get that down here for that person to laugh at.
Okay.
But I'm not close enough yet to tell them that.
Okay. I know some comedians like that.
Where you just want to go like, man, I hear what you're going for. That's funny. That's really funny. But you're saying it, it's like in such a fast way or a quick-witted way that it's like it was too smart. It went right over. But that's really funny, man. I hope you get it there,
I know some comedians, their style is so unique, like they have a voice. Mm-hmm. They just started. I'm like, people gonna tell you to change a lot, but if you just stick to the way you're doing comedy, bro, it's gonna take you longer. I'm gonna be honest, it's gonna take you longer. But once you figure out that thing that you're doing, keep it like that, you gonna take off, bro. Mm-hmm. Just please don't change.
That's what I'm hoping happens to this person.
Yeah, because some people, they just got to figure it out, bro.
Yeah.
Like you say, you see it. It's like, it's there, but you just don't know how to get to it yet.
Yeah. And to your point, like, it's different enough that if you can dial it in, it's going to be so unique.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you think of some of those real out there comics, it's like whether you like them or not, it's like Theo Vaughn is a strange comic. Strange guy.
Yeah.
And I wonder, like, how much advice did he get of, like, you shouldn't do it this way?
Bro, I hope you get to interview him one day and ask him that.
I'd love to, yeah.
That'd be
I'm sure he'd have a
dope
wild
question.
answer because he just seems like that's how. You know what? I have a friend. It's one of my wife's friends. She said that she went to college wherever he was at over there in Louisiana, and that they went on like a date. And so I was like, "Oh, come on, you got to tell me that story." And she's like, "He was nice. It didn't go well. He was nice. Like there was nothing wrong. It's just he's a strange guy." And she's like, "I didn't even know he was doing comedy." She's like, "My husband was like, wasn't this a guy you said you went on a date with?" And I was like, "Was it the same?" She's like, "Exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
That's just him."
I love to hear that, though.
But it's also awesome. It's like, can you imagine that guy holding down a regular job? It's like, thank God he found comedy.
Some people made for this.
Yeah, it's like, thank God he found the thing that he could excel at with that personality.
Yeah.
It's awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's what's so intriguing about just comedy in general, man. It's like there's no one path, there's no one style. It's like all of a sudden somebody's going to come out and just be a killer and you never expected them, you know?
Yeah. I've seen comedians get up there and break all of the rules that people say, turn their back to the audience, hold the mic the wrong way, and just kill. I'm like, oh, it's no way to do this.
Yeah.
It's however it works for you, do it that way, because it's no rules, man.
Well, just think about, what were you doing 10 years ago where you thought, like, it's got to be done this way, that you're not doing anymore, It's,
right.
There's always something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, and
yeah, man.
I'm excited to see where you are in the next 12 years, man.
I'm excited
see how your
too,
opinions
bro.
change on, like, right now you're like, I just want to do it for a living. Next time I talk to you, be like, man, I think we're going to sell out this arena.
That's going to be interesting to see, bro.
But 2 specials in, I mean, come on, man, that's a huge accomplishment.
I think so, too.
Yeah,
man.
and you're getting good views on it. I looked at today. I think you're well over 10,000 now, like about to hit 12,000 or something, aren't you?
Yeah, it been at 11 for a minute. I think it didn't
Don't worry about that.
slow down.
You
but
just keep working, man. It's going to do what it's going to do.
yeah, I need something else to pop, and then people will go back and check it out.
Look, you were talking about it earlier. You're talking about patience. Look, you're a music guy, right?
Yeah.
You like Outkast?
Oh, yeah.
You remember one of those great lines? We're sticking together like flour and water to make that slow dough.
Okay.
Come on, man. That's where you're at.
Yeah.
You're just working on your thing. You're just mixing it up. It's going to keep just growing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And before you know it, you'll be like, I'm sorry, Travis. I'm too big to do that podcast, man.
Never, bro.
I'm just
Thank
messing
you
with
for
you, man.
even wanting to talk to me,
No,
bro.
I appreciate you making the trip out. The special's great. I've got to see you a couple times now. I really enjoy it. And,
you, man.
dude, best of luck out there, man.
Appreciate it, Travis.
The I'm a Fan of podcast, music, comedy, and more.